Hello everyone and welcome to 14 Guwahati MuleSoft Meetup. Thank you so much for attending the session on Sunday morning. So the topic for our today's session is learning everything about AWS and MuleSoft, and the speaker for our today's meetup is Shubham, who will guide us with the topic. So let us move to the safe harbor statement. So I'll just read it out. Both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here. This presentation is strictly for learning purpose only. The organizer or presenter do not hold any responsibility that same solution will work for your business requirement. This presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. Let's move on to the housekeeping. So the recording of this session will be uploaded within 24 hours in the meetup page. I've already shared the page link and the YouTube link as well. So if you have any question, just feel free to put it on chat, or you have got the mic access. So just feel free to put any questions to the speaker, to the organizer, or anyone from in the group, and anyone can answer that. It's not like only the speaker or organizer should do that. So just feel free. We want to make it more interactive. So just share out your knowledge, whatever you have. And at the last, you will, like, once the meetup is done, you'll get a feedback form over your mail. So just please fill that form and send us the feedback, because that is very important for every one of us. That will help us to understand how you like the meetup, what next meetup you want. You can suggest a topic, and it will help to improve the speaker, organizer, and the group as well. So please put your feedback. That is very much important. Now, coming up to the organizer intro. So, hi, I'm your host for today. My name is Abhishek Bathwal, and I'm a MuleSoft ambassador. I'm working as an associate solution architect in Epicero. I have overall of 7+ years of experience and 5+ in MuleSoft. I'm a certified developer and architect. I'm a leader for both Guwahati and Lucknow MuleSoft Meetup group. I write blogs. I create technical videos. So that's all about me. Over to you, Shubham.
Okay. So thanks Abhishek for inviting me to the Guwahati MuleSoft Meetup. So hello guys, and thanks for joining on a Sunday. So I'll introduce a little about myself. So I am Shubham Chaurasia, working as a professional integration developer at Millennium. So I have a total more than 2.5 years of experience in integrations. So basically, I've started my IT experience with working as a MuleSoft developer only. So I'm like MuleSoft certified developer and platform architect and integration architect as well. So other than that, I have some cloud certifications. Okay, so let's move to the today's agenda. All right. So today I will be focusing more on AWS. Okay, and this session will be more 80% on AWS, and then we will have a view on how AWS works with MuleSoft. Okay, so it will be 20% MuleSoft as well. I will show some demo on MuleSoft as well. Okay, uh, okay. So then I'll talk about like how you should start your cloud journey with AWS. So I will just give an overview like how you can begin with your cloud journey. Okay, so I mean okay, let's move to the first agenda. Okay, then we will talk about different AWS services provides us. Okay, and then services mostly used for MuleSoft. So whenever how I mean different AWS services integrates with MuleSoft. Okay, then we will see like which different connectors we have on our exchange for AWS integration. Okay, then we'll see demo on those. Okay, then we will have a trivia quiz at the end. Okay, so let's talk about AWS first. Okay, so everyone, I mean most of you already know like AWS is the biggest cloud service provider. Okay, so AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. So what is exactly AWS? So it's a cloud computing service, okay, which provides us like computing services, so and database services, content delivery, etc. I mean there are a lot of services that AWS provides. I will go through some of these those services. Okay, uh, as you can see like it provides us online services, servers, database software to users, so we don't have to set up at our own on premises. Okay, so if a suppose a small business wants to start his online services, so he either needs to set up everything at his own premises. Instead he can go for the cloud. So I mean if you set up your own then you have to pay a lot of amount upfront. But with this cloud computing, you don't need to pay. So you will, AWS says as pay as you go. So whatever services you are using, then pay only for those. You don't need to pay anything extra or in advance. Okay. Now, AWS services platform provides more than 200 fully featured services. The lot, I mean, there this is a big number, so a lot of services, and they have data centers located all over the world, and is the world's most comprehensive cloud platform. Okay, um, so I mean, it provides several on-demand operations like compute power. So I will go like what are the services we have for compute, for database storage, content delivery. Okay, to help corporates scale and grow. As I mentioned, like it's a pay as you go system. So it removes the requirement for capital to be provided upfront, so you don't need to pay upfront. Okay, it helps in controlling, auditing, and managing identity configuration and uses. All right, so I mean, you may have heard of I mean, different companies, I mean, large companies are using AWS as its uh, on its I mean, on its as its server. Okay, for example, if you can see like Docker, Kellogg's, NASA. Even NASA is using AWS as its storage and compute for, I mean, for its backend. Okay, and even Netflix also uses AWS. So you I mean, is it's the biggest market holder for cloud computing services. Okay, even Adobe uses AWS. Okay, so I mean, there are a lot of not a lot of names mentioned here, but yeah, mostly most of the cloud is occupied by AWS. Okay, so where should you let me give you like how you can start your cloud journey with AWS. So there are different cloud providers available. For example, AWS is there in the top. Then we have Azure, Microsoft Azure. Okay, then we have GCP, Google Cloud Platform, then Oracle, then Alibaba, I think, as well there. So I mean, why choose AWS? Because I mean, it's up to you, or it's up to your business. I mean, business requirement. Like suppose your business, I mean, your business wants to set up his cloud infrastructure on Azure, so he can go for it. But obviously, AWS has benefits because it's been in the market earlier than any platform has ever started. Okay, so where, I mean, let's talk about how we can about our personal journey, how you should start with. Okay, so we have okay, if I talk about like certifications way, then you can start with learning AWS by starting with cloud practitioner. Okay, so what you will do is so this is the, I mean, fundamentals certification that you can do and start your cloud journey with AWS. Okay, then also Azure has a easy 900 exam, like Azure fundamental, it's called Azure fundamentals. Then GCP has cloud digital leader, I think it's called. So yeah, these are the fundamentals certifications with which you can start your cloud journey. Okay, with any of those clouds. Okay, then we have associate, then professional, and then a specialty level certifications. Okay, so associate is like after cloud practitioner, you get to know about the fundamentals. But if you suppose you want to be a developer, so you will be doing all these I mean, you will be looking at all these options. Okay, as an associate, so what it demands is like 1 years of experience solving problems and implementing solutions using the AWS cloud. So if you want to start, I mean, if you want to get these certifications, you should have 1 years of experience using AWS and designing solutions. Okay, so we have solution architect associate, ops administrator associate, developer associate. Okay, so if you are more on the, if you want to be more on the developer end, like you want to I mean, go more on the developer end of AWS, you can go with this AWS developer associate. So this will I mean, it's not just like I'm telling you about the certification. You will get a lot of knowledge when you will prepare for this certification. You will go through each and every service, like what capability does it provide, what options does it provide. So when you will go all those, your mind will kind of open to what options can we have, right? So I mean, if you see if you see all those options, then only you can suggest some different solutions, some different possibilities, right? Only if you know that there are options available. Okay, so that way, I mean, I'm just telling like how you can get all those knowledge. Then we have solution architect. So this is a certification that helps us to build infrastructure. Okay, like how we can design architectures. I will show you one of the architecture. Like when you will be learning this solution architect, you will be designing those in that particular infrastructure for different businesses, organizations. Okay, then we have sysops administrator. So it basically more on the ops side. Okay, like managing Kubernetes, managing EC2 instances and all, managing databases, etc. Then we have professional level certifications, like DevOps engineer. If you want to be more on the DevOps and become to professional, you can do this. And solution architect, more on the, I mean, more expert. So it will require 2 years of. So there is no like as it's written, like there is 1 years of experience required. So it's not prerequisite that you have to be have 1 year of experience, then only you can go for this these certifications. It's just kind of it's I mean it's like kind of recommended. Okay, yeah. So specialty, if you want to be I mean, suppose you have a machine learning niche or database, you want to go more on the data side, then you can do these data specialty certifications, which basically focus on those services which provide for example, if you talk about database specialty, they only they will be focusing more on the AWS services that deals with AWS database. Okay, then data analytics, machine learning, I mean, these are specialty, so they will be focusing on the on those specific services. Okay, then security as well. So if you are new, you can I recommend you should go with cloud practitioner. And of course, I mean, we all are MuleSoft developers, but we should have I mean, fundamental knowledge of cloud. Okay, so you should start somewhere. Okay, that's my, I mean, recommendation. I have gone through like cloud practitioner certification, then associate. So it opens me to a lot of knowledge and possibilities that we can do with MuleSoft. Okay, so for example, if you say you may ask like what can how we can do with MuleSoft. So basically, see, you may be developing some applications. For example, if you are dealing with database, so you are provided database credentials by the DevOps team. But suppose you want to do it yourself, right? So you can you should do, I mean, if you want to some have a kind of a test, if you want to develop and test, so you can create it yourself this way. I mean, if you know all these options, right? If you know all this about AWS, like what are the services, how do we create a database, etc. So that way it will help not only your knowledge but your all your skills. Okay, so with certification, what it provides, it helps you to showcase your cloud expertise across the world. So when you have all these knowledge in your bag, so chances of your getting in a in a I mean, you will get better opportunities in your career, right? So let's move to the next slide. So as I was talking about like AWS solution architect, so this is a kind of the architecture which you will be creating. So I'll just give you an overview, like how this architecture what this architecture means. Okay, uh, just for knowledge. Okay, so for example, we have this okay, users. Okay, then we have so user sends a request, we have Amazon route 53. So I will be I mean, kind of explaining little bit about these services. Okay, so you will know more like what these different services are when you come maybe came across in your projects. Okay, that will help like you will know like already what this service provides. Okay, so for example, user sends a request, so you can see Amazon route 53 comes up. So this is a what we call domain name service provided by AWS. Okay, so whenever you can map to your custom domain whatever the request you are sending. Okay, here then after the request is kind of mapped to a particular domain, we pass it pass the request to Amazon CloudFront. So a CloudFront is a content delivery network service. So let's say what okay, so what does this provides us? So what it's a like a global service. Okay, so I will also talk about like what are global services, what are regional services here. So AWS has all these services. Some of these services are regional, for example, specific to a region. So when you create those will be created in a particular region. But when you create a global service, it will be available to all the regions, but I mean, yeah. So for example, if we talk about S3, you may have heard of S3, obviously. So it's a global service. If you talk about EC2 instance, it's a regional service. Okay, I'll show you in the AWS console as well. Okay, let's go through this first. Okay, so as I mentioned, like CloudFront is a content delivery network service. So what does this mean? So basically, what there are different capabilities that this provides. On a high level, what it does is, like, suppose you receive some request. Okay, so it will go all through all these processing. Okay, it will go to the instance, it will see what it will execute the code and then get back the response. Okay, but suppose it is executing, I mean, see, if we receive the same request, we then again doing the same thing. But with CloudFront, it what it will do, it will catch the response here. Okay, for the most frequent requests, you don't have to do anything like configure and code, like if we I mean, like we do in MuleSoft. But here it will automatically cache the most requested endpoints, and most I mean, that the requests that are most received by our service. Okay, then as you can see, we have an S3 bucket. Okay, so S3 bucket, we can, suppose you want to host a website, right? So you can just use the S3 bucket for for hosting your static website. Okay, it doesn't host a dynamic website, but if you want to host a static website, you can do that using S3 service. So it provides an enabled inbuilt service of hosting a website. Okay, so you can see, like it mentioned, for WordPress static assets. Then we have an internet gateway. So for example, all these services needs to access internet, or I mean, maybe you want them to receive public traffic, right? So what so VPC is basically, when you create a VPC, it doesn't have internet access. So let's talk about first VPC. Okay, so VPC is just an isolated network connection. I mean, it's similar to what we have in MuleSoft. Okay, um, so basically, you create a kind of isolated network for your own business. Okay, then you create, so here we have subnets. You can see, so subnets, you can it's just a range of IP addresses that you kind of break from a list of IP addresses that you have created for your VPC. Okay, uh, so these subnets you create is just again a logical thing, right? Subnet, so we create a public subnet to, I mean, there will be we will assign some addresses for this public subnet. Then we have app subnet. See, you don't want your these backend services to be public, right? So you will create this in a private subnet, so that it doesn't have any internet access. Any outside word cannot access this without, I mean, you don't want these to be accessed by outside public, right? They attackers, I mean hackers, may attack these, and may your service may go down. So that will hamper your business, right? So what you do is, like, provide access, I mean, you provide public access through the use of a NAT gateway. Okay, so it may be, I mean, confusing for now, because it's new for you. So let's move to the next topic. Okay, so as I was just explaining how all these services are there, then we have a load balancer as well for providing this high capability. Just two more things, like, as you can see, like we have our region here, then we have availability zones. So you may be familiar, like how availability zone works. You deploy different instances. So instance is just a compute service, so for for handling your request, right? For handling your application, where you deploy your application. So you may not want to all your application to go down and one. If you deploy, suppose in one availability zone, if it goes down, then you don't have any backup. So your business will get affected, right? So you want it to be highly available, right? So that's why we have so you deployed your applications in different availability zones. Okay, so that's you can see availability zone 1, availability zone 2. Okay, let's move to the next framework. Let's not talk about this for now. Okay, so see, what are the different AWS services we have? Okay, so we have compute services, we have storage services, we have database services, then we have migration services. All these services are provided by AWS. So you can see like EC2 instance. I hope you guys have heard about EC2 instance. Like, let me know in the chat, whoever have heard about EC2 and may have worked in the past. Let me see who has worked. Yeah, great. So guys, let me know like if you have worked, yes or no, in the chat. You can let me know. Great. So most of you have heard about AWS and have worked with it. So of course, then we have different services for compute, like container services, ECS, EKS, Elastic Kubernetes service. We have, okay. Then we have storage services, S3, EBS, EFS. So these are all our services which, for example, if we talk about EFS, we when we create a EC2 instance, right? So we need to provide it a storage, right, where you can store all that data which needs to be processed by that EC2 instance. So we attach a EFS or EBS to that. Okay, so then we have Amazon Glacier. So I mean, I will explain you some of these services like which are most often used, and you may in the future will come across. Okay, so and may have even already came across. Okay, so for example, Amazon VPC. So see, whenever you create an EC2 instance, you will be deploying that in a particular VPC. I mean, for example, if you create one, a default VPC, it will get deployed to VPC if you haven't created your one. Okay, then we have Route 53. As I told you, it's a DNS service. CloudFront, I explained you. Okay, okay. So let's move to the Glacier. So Glacier, I was talking. See, you store all these storage. See, if we talk about, let's talk about a little bit about MuleSoft. So see, MuleSoft hasn't provided us any service for storing our data, right? For example, I mean, if we talk about storing data, we have two things, right? If we want to store files, we want to store records. For storing records, we use relational database services. Okay, database, etc. But for storing files, what do we use? We can use I mean, MuleSoft doesn't provide any service, right? So we have to use some external services. So we can use S3 for that, and I mean there are a couple of other services provided by different providers as well. But yeah, for see, MuleSoft, I mean, they will may they I mean they should provide some service in, they may provide in the future, or they may have wanted us to use some other cloud services. So let's move to the next part. So yeah, so if you want to have of course, even MuleSoft hasn't provided us any database uh, offering as well. Okay, so for that we have these services like Amazon RDS. So it's a relational database services. Then if we talk about Amazon Aurora, so it's a basically managed database service. For example, it's, see, if you use RDS, you can just create your SQL server, SQL, MySQL or Postgres SQL servers here. I mean, databases here with the use of RDS. Okay, then Aurora is a kind of managed service. So see, if you will create an RDS, I will show you like creating a database using RDS. Okay, then so see, you will be, I mean, manually handling all those parts, like where how much service, I mean how much kind of storage you need, how much requests you will be processing, what is the size of your memory you will be assigning to this. But with the use of suppose you don't want to do all these configurations, you are not an expert, so you can use with this Amazon provides some managed services. So they handle the backend for that, for those services. Okay, so that's called a managed service. So see, Amazon Aurora is a managed service, so you don't have to worry about all those instances which will be running your database. Okay, so AWS will be doing that. Then we have for caching. See, for MuleSoft providers has provided us object store just for storing some cache work, but we cannot store any files there, right? So I mean, you can say like some of these uh, MuleSoft services are using AWS. I mean, behind the scenes. Okay, so that's one thing there. Okay, so Amazon Elastic Cache we have, so for storing all the cache data. Then we have DB. So DynamoDB is a NoSQL database. If you want to have, suppose for your business requirement requires a NoSQL database, then you can use DynamoDB, again a managed service. Okay, let's see any more service we you may have. Okay, so we have elastic load balancing here for networking and content delivery. Then I mean there are a lot of more services. So you may have come across these code commit, code build, code deploy for code pipeline for managing your CI/CD. You can create your pipelines using all these services. Okay, and let's see any more services we have for machine learning. If you are, suppose you are building some solution for your business, for your client, uh, that requires some machine learning services, then you have all these services available to you. Okay, SageMaker is a ML service. Okay, analytics, you can use that. Okay, so here we have some of the services that you may use in your business. For example, for analytics we have let's see, cloud search. Okay, so uh, let's see, cloud search. So basically you suppose you want to store your logs and have a, see, MuleSoft provides us logging service, but if you want to have much more capabilities that MuleSoft doesn't provide that capability, so you can use that Amazon cloud search services for analyzing all those data to get some logic out of it. Okay, then we have security, identity and compliance. Okay, so let's get back to the console. Before that, I have one, I think we have all those services as well. I don't see those mentioned here. Like you may have used SQS and SNS for okay, see, we have these see for application integration. For example, for storing messages, we have Amazon in MuleSoft. We have this MQ service, right? So it's a built-in service that is obviously using some behind the scenes. It's using SQ, combination of SQS and SNS. So yeah, so we have all these services for managing your queue messages, right? You can, if you want, if see, suppose you have purchased MuleSoft, your organization has purchased MuleSoft but hasn't purchased MQ offering of that, then you can use these services SQS and SNS for building your queue infrastructure. Okay, so let's see the console now. Before that, yeah, so first I will show some AWS console, like how you can sign up kind of onto the console, and what will the, how you can create some database. I will be creating some instance, and different options we have there. Okay, so most probably you can use EC2 instance to I mean work, to have some testing with your whatever business case you are building. Okay, so let's get to the console here.
Shubham, before moving that, can we take two questions we have?
Yeah, sure. Let's see, we have,
Okay, one is from Kishore. He's asking like CloudFront is used for high availability right across availability zone.
yes, so it's a global service and it provides high availability to across different regions.
Okay, second is from Praveen like any free AWS subscription for practice.
Yeah, so let's see, it's in the demo. I mean see, you have to provide your I mean card for that, but it's a free service for 1 year. So AWS provides 1 year trial, you can say.
Free trial.
And yeah, free trial for 1 year. So obviously you will be using some of the services only. For example, I will show you, like when you create an EC2 instance, you cannot create any instance. There are different flavors of instances available. So there you can only use a free tier one. Okay, so that is the some kind of restrictions you will have. Okay, and you cannot use it for, obviously, for production. So that's one point as well. Okay, so I will try to, let me show you if I can sign up and show you how it will look. Okay, I haven't AWS sign up. Okay, so yeah, I will, as I told, like it's you can sign up for a free AWS account. It will be available for 1 year, but you need to provide your card details for that. Okay, and yeah, so just that. And again, you just, again, you when you will practice all these things in AWS, be sure to track your expenses. Like, see, if you run your EC2 instance and if you run couple of EC2 instances, it's not like it's free. You will pay. So you have to check like how, I mean, it's free up to a limited time. Okay, I mean, it's kind of a quantity. So if you run for kind of 60 hours, then it's free. If you go above beyond that, then you will have to pay a charge for that. So that's why we have some budget and cost tracking options in AWS. You have any questions?
No questions. So basically, like it's free, but in the other way, it's not free, just depending on the limit of hits you are doing to that particular services. So
Yeah,
service wise, it is free, but if you are going beyond some services, then it is payable.
yeah. So even on those free service, I mean, most of the services are free. So you have to use it within a within a free restriction limit, right?
Restriction limit, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. You, as you can see, I have I'm signing up. Okay. So you can provide your email address, and then you will have to see. You will come across that. Let me try sign up AWS account name. So let's see. Again, I think I have to verify. That's a lot of things. So yeah, you can sign up as I explained you. You will need to provide your card details, but it will not be charged for 1 year, and you can always remove that before 1 year, so that you don't get charged. Okay. So let's move to the console that I have already have. Okay, so you can see all these services. If you want to search for any service, you can just directly go from here. Okay, for example, if we talk about S3, so let's move to the S3. Okay, so I will be showing a demo on this, like creating a bucket and everything. So see, as you can see, like it's a global service here. So if I search for EC2 and go to that console, you will see that it's a regional service. See, the regions comes up. So we have for if we talk about Asia, we have, I mean, if we talk about India, we have two regions. uh, One is Mumbai, I think. One is opened in Hyderabad recently, so that will come up as well. So we have this codes AP South one. I mean, these regions similar to MuleSoft, we have all these. Okay. And all right, so let's see how you can create an EC2 instance. So for example, see, if you will be learning different couple of things about MuleSoft. For example, if you learn about RTF, so you will be requiring to have I mean, if you want to do all this practice, suppose creating an RTF uh, for managed instances, so you will be using all these services. You will not be provided. So suppose you want to test it out, right? You want to learn, so you have to know about all these possible cloud services that you will be requiring to use. Okay, so let's talk about creating an instance. So you'll be creating an instance, then you'll be logging onto that, then you will be installing some services there, and then all those scripts there, which we have for RTF, you will, I mean, just it's an example, I'm just saying. Okay, so for example, let's name my server AWS server, right? So I'll just show you how you can create an instance. Easy thing. Again, I will just go over the options. So you have different couple of options that you can create either a AWS Linux, different flavors. You can create a Windows instance, Red Hat. Okay, there. So there are a couple of AMIs. So it's called machine images, Amazon machine images, I guess. So again, you have you see free tier eligible, you are allowed to only this instance. Okay, so I mean, it will have root device, EBS. Okay, and okay, all right, this description. Okay, so I was as I was mentioning, for free tier you will have to use this particular instance, T2 micro. There are a lot of instances we can have, instance types, T1 micro, T2 nano. So as you can see, we our memory is getting increase if we use different different instance types. For example, if you want to have a powerful instance, right, for your needs, then you will have to select different titulars. There are, you can see a lot of instance types available for your different business cases. Okay, suppose you are processing some huge data. Suppose you are doing some data analytics, right? So you have to use a instance that is capable of doing that, right? But for free tier,
Shubham, I have one question. So here, like wherever it is written as free tier, that only we can use for a free trial, correct? If we use something else, it will be payable.
yes, correct.
Oh,
So obviously you have to be careful, otherwise you will be charged for that. Yeah, so you have to create a key pair. You can create a key pair, and for example, you created a Linux EC2 instance, right? And now you need to log in into inside of that, right? Access that EC2 instance. Then you will need this key pair. You need to provide that. See, there are two options here. You can just log in using CMD. Just create launch a CMD, then provide that key pair and log in into that using SSH, right? And again, if you don't want to do that, you can just use a AWS inbuilt cloud shell. And so you don't have to even configure key pairs. It will be automatically done by a cloud shell. Okay, so if you want to just test out simply logging into your instance, you can do it here with the inbuilt cloud service, cloud shell. Okay, let's get back to the in-situ instance creation. I think I have a lot to cover up. Let's So here you will be seeing whatever instance you have created. It will be running its state. So whenever even you launch, it will be in started state. Stop, you can stop it, etc. All you can do here. Then we have all these options. So you can so okay, so let's get back to creating instance. So there are a lot of, a lot of knowledge that I can provide you, but it's not it's limited 1 hour. Okay, so yeah, so whenever you create a EC2 instance, you how you want its network to be. Do you want it to be open to public? So that way, which VPC you want it to assign it to? Do you want to create it in a particular subnet, as I mentioned right earlier in that architecture diagram, that you create those EC2 instances in your particular instance, in your particular VPC, right? So that suppose you are creating this EC2 instance for your for running your code for particular suppose a node.js server you want to run it, right? So you don't want it to be public, then you assign it to a private subnet. Okay, for now we haven't created any, so it will default subnet. It will get assigned to default subnet. So you can all choose all those priorities here by clicking on edit, and then you which traffic you want it to allow it to. Okay, so those you create using security groups. Okay, if you want to allow HTTPS traffic from the internet or not, you can select those options here. Then we have advanced details. Okay, so if you want to enable CloudWatch monitoring, like you want to see the logs, everything, all these requests, responses, etc., you can enable these CloudWatch monitoring. So it's a again monitoring service provided by AWS. It's called CloudWatch. Then so again we have some tags here. Suppose you want to list out. So in business scenario, in the real world scenario, will be running your business will be running a lot of instances. You want to suppose search for a particular list of instances that are prod, right? You may be running dev instances, EC2 instances that are meant for dev environment, for prod environment. So you can assign those tags here. User data. So suppose you want your different, you may be required to run different EC2 instances, right? So you want those instances to have all those these existing all these services already there, right? Suppose you want to have database already running there, what let's say a server you want it already running there when you create a EC2. So you can provide a script here for so it will download those services already, like for example a server, a database, they already there. Then it will create your EC2 instances. So when you will log in, it will already be there, those things which you want. Okay, So that way it will save time. uh, you don't want again to launch that EC2 instance, configure DB again and again, okay, to different instances. So that's all, some of the options I explained you. Okay, let's talk about one of the services that again you will be using, S3. So I'll be presenting a demo here. I have created this bucket here. So why S3 is used is for storing files here. Okay, so it's a object storage, you can say. Let's talk about RDS. So I'm just laying down, like, the most used services here. For example, you in MuleSoft we use database most often, right? So you SQL database, so you can use this RDS service for that. Okay, I will be explaining how you can create one, and I have configured in MuleSoft as well. I'll show you that thing as well. Okay, so RDS, suppose you want to create a NoSQL, so you cannot create a NoSQL database. You cannot create this using RDS. So because it's a relational database service, so it provides SQL and okay, MySQL services. Okay, so let's create that database. Okay, so suppose you want to test out some of the some business case. Okay, then you will be required that in that business case you will be required to have a database. So you can just come up to your AWS cloud, create your database and test it out, whatever logic you are building. Okay, so you don't need to depend on some any other DevOps people, right? So that's why it will be helpful for you. Okay, so you can either customize it using all these options. So we have MySQL option. You can create this MySQL, Oracle database, all these, right? So as I mentioned, Amazon Aurora. So you, if you select this option, you don't have to configure anything. Okay, but if you use MySQL option, you will have to provide everything, like which MySQL version you want to use. And then if you want to have availability and durability, high availability, so it, what it will do, it will create a cluster, for for hosting your database in different availability zones. Okay, uh, I hope you guys know about availability zone. Let me know in the chat if you don't know. I will explain that. Okay, just answer with yes or no. Okay, so again, we have connectivity options. You don't want your database to be anybody, to be publicly accessible, right? Anyone can access it and may attack, hackers may attack. So you, again, you have this connectivity option to, to create it in a in that private subnet. Okay, and all these things, all these database authentication. How do you want to access your database using a password or IAM policies? Okay, then monitoring, all those configurations are available. There's a lot of configurations, and you can just easily use create option, easy create, so it will use the recommended one. Okay, so as you can see, we have different machines options available here. I cannot use a production one with a free tier, I have to use this one. Okay, so this way, so you can see it will run a uh, kind of instance where you will be, where your database service will run. Okay, so again, you provide master. So I have created one database, I have shown you. I'll show you that one. Okay, let's see the databases we have. So I have created this instance. Okay, and it's a, again, it's a regional service. As you can see, it's deployed in US East 1F, running on a DBT3 micro instance. Okay, so all you can see its configuration in this dashboard here. Then we have all these options in related to RDS, like snapshot. So see, suppose you are running a database, right? You may suppose your instance goes down. Okay, it happens even with AWS as well. Okay, so that's why you don't so see, suppose sometimes multiple organizations create multi-cloud infrastructure for their business cases. For example, if even if AWS goes down, they will be running same services for using different clouds. So that's again a very high level thing. Okay, so just laying down possible options again here. uh, okay, so I have created this database. So let me show you. Like I have what are the options, how to connect it. Suppose you create that instance and now you want to connect it. So this is the endpoint you will be using as a host. Then this is the port in at which the database port is open. Then it's created in a default VPC, so it's written. Again, when you will be creating this database, it will not be publicly accessible, so you will need to do this configuration to make it publicly accessible. Okay, so again, that, I mean, you either just can use your what it's called VPC security groups to provide, to make it accessible to the public. Okay, so okay, so let's see how you can connect to this. So I have created that in AWS demo. So suppose I want to query that database. Again, suppose you have created this database, right? Now you want to create a table, and you may be thinking like, we have any service available, but we don't have any service to create any query, to launch any query in here. You will have to use some database management service, for example, to query these database, to query the table. So AWS doesn't provide any service for that. Okay, for 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 kind of DDL and DML services. Okay, so you have to do that. So I have done that. I mean, created a table using let me see what. So DB Weaver. Okay, so this is one of the software for connecting to your database and managing that database. Okay, so let's go to the database configurations. I'll show you like how you can connect. So I have created a MySQL connection. You have to, again, I mean, you pretty much know everything about this. So just install that particular driver. Then again, see, I have copied that particular host here. Okay, port, you have all this here, and user and password. So you, when you will be creating on the database, you will be providing this in your configuration. Okay, at the time of creation. Okay, so as you can see, I'm testing the connection, as the test connection was successful. So now you can just login using DB Weaver. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, so you just open any database management service you have, and log in here and launch SQL queries. Even you can that from here as well, right? You can select, you can create, you have all these options in database. Okay, so you can play around with your business use case. So okay, that I've explained. So see, you may be thinking like, why do we need to create uh, a cloud-based database, right? So see, if suppose you maybe you can create obviously in MySQL by installing it in your local, but suppose you want to present this use case, whatever you have prepared to the client or to the business, and then you cannot write share your local host URL right in here. Then you have to provide that cloud URL, cloud database managed service, so that it can be deployed to cloud and you can show it to anywhere, right? So that's why we have these cloud services. Okay, okay, any questions so far?
Yeah, can you explain about availability zone? Some of our attendees want to know that.
Okay, so okay, how can I explain? So yeah, AWS provides, see, you have multiple data centers. Okay, so data center is what kind of a servers running. Okay, so you will have different okay, so how it for AWS, how it goes. See, we have regions. I will show you from here. Okay, so as you can see, we have a US region, then we have Asia Pacific region. Okay, then we have a Europe region. So these are called region: Europe region, Asia region, US region. Okay, then comes up like these availability zones. Okay, I mean these, I mean, then again we have a distribution as US East 1, US East 2, US East 1. So these all will be running their servers. Okay, it's not like if we talk about US, then only one server, a very large data center is running, only one large data center is running in US. You will have couple of multiple servers running in different in these different zones. Okay, so these we can say as I think it's called region again. Then in the US East one, we will have a couple of different places where we'll have these again availability zones. Okay, So US East one, we will have I think we call these availability zones only. Okay.
Okay, okay. So let me take that. So what that means is like we have got different servers at different regions. That means that is a different data warehouse we can say. So for
Right.
us, like Mumbai was the one which was described. Can you open that, Shubham?
Yep.
Yeah. So like Mumbai is the one for us, which is like the nearest data warehouse available for us. So we can consider that as a availability zone for us, or we can say like Asia Pacific Singapore. Okay, that is the one which is near to our local area, the region or which is near to our local area. We can say that as a availability zone.
Okay, so again, adding to that point, so you may want to have your multiples. I mean, see, if your one availability zone, if your one server goes down, then you may want to have other server running right somewhere else. So that's we call availability zone. Okay, it will have different power, different storage. Okay, so different networking for providing internet access. So that this
Yeah.
way, availability zone is identified. Okay.
Correct. And it's not like you cannot host your instance to any other availability zone. We can do that, but why we choose the nearest one so that we don't it doesn't take much time. So like if we are hosting it to a near zone, near availability region, then the application will be faster. If we host it in some other region which is farther than our local area, then it will take little bit more time.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
suppose you create an application that is catering to a particular region's audience, right? Suppose you created a application that will be accessed only by India's users, right? So you will be creating your application in in this region so that users have less latency. If you create that particular application and deployed that in US East or some other region, right, then it will cause your latency and will not provide much faster response, because request has to go through a large distance, right? Okay, I hope that explains. And okay, so okay, let's move to the slides. So what are the services most used for MuleSoft and different connectors we have for AWS integration? Do we have any more questions before that? Are we
No.
good? Okay, all right. So okay, so what are the different connectors we have in Exchange? So we have SQS for managing queue, for creating and managing our queues, and I mean there are different connectors for Mule 3 and Mule 4 for managing SQS. Okay, then we have Redshift connector. So Redshift is a data warehouse services provided by AWS. Then Lambda, so it's a server. Suppose see, you are creating your EC2 instances for executing some code, right? So you are managing everything for creating that. I mean, suppose you will think about like how much request, how I mean how big my processor can. I mean, you will have to assess everything, right? How big my request can be, how it will take, what I mean large processing will it take or not. So with that you have to identify which EC2 instances, I mean which instance type you have to use. Is do we require 4 GB memory, 5 GB memory, right? You will have to think that. But with Lambda connector, if you want to execute some code, you will not have to worry about your backend. So it will be automatically handled by AWS. So this is called a serverless service. Okay. And then we have S3 Glacier connector. Okay, so see, you are storing your files in S3. Okay, suppose those files are not accessed frequently. Okay, so as again S3, see, I mean, this is again a detailed scenario. So if you have S3, you will be paying uh, suppose X amount. Okay, now you are not accessing those files. Okay, and you want it to be archived. Okay, so you can just save it to Glacier, which is a archiving service provided by AWS. So again, so what benefit will it give you? So if you use S3, you have to pay a large amount for, I mean, suppose X amount. If you store your files into Glacier, then you can decrease your price. Okay, which whatever you are paying for S3. So this is the service used for archiving files. What I mean, drawback you get by using S3 Glacier connector, when you are, see, if you are using if you are getting it for lesser price, then why not use Glacier, why use S3 directly? So with this, the drawback is that you it will take some time to fetch those files, because it will be stored in some archive. It will take some time to get it out from there and provided uh, fulfill your request. Okay, so that's why it costs less than a normal S3. Okay, so we have S3 connector here. Okay, let me go to the exchange and we'll show you like what other options we have as well for AWS services. Okay, so as I told you, we have S3 connector. Then again, okay, I'll share this link so that you know. Then we have DynamoDB connector for managing NoSQL databases. Okay. Then we have Kinesis data streams connector. So Kinesis, Amazon Kinesis is a streaming service. Okay. So if you suppose you have suppose you are having a IoT business, okay, where which is providing you a large number of data from your different devices, and you want to process that GBs of data. So then you will be using this Kinesis streaming service. Okay, that data will be streaming, right? Then we have RDS connector, as I mentioned. Either you can use this as a using database, or you can use a RDS connector. We have that available as well in the exchange. Okay, you can create DB instance from here. All these, we have EC2 connector available as well. I didn't mention, I mean, it was not showing in the image, right? But we have that available. You can all perform all these functions. So you can see there are a couple of functions. So why you will be using EC2 instance here? So suppose you want to automate your infrastructure, right? So you can create all those flows here to, I mean, you will be building logic. Suppose your request, I mean, you are receiving a large number of instance, then you can create a again a different EC2 instance. So you can I mean, build your logic using all these, and have all these options are available to automate your infrastructure. Okay. Okay, EC2 connector we have available, as I shown you. RDS connector, SNS for notification services. Suppose you have built an application that provides notification to the users. Okay, then you can use this SNS connector. Suppose you have built a mobile application, and that you may have seen, I mean, you receive notification in WhatsApp and a different application. You are building an application that provides those notifications, then you can use SNS connector, SQS connector for queuing. Okay, then we have Redshift connector. Okay, then again, this is a API that is created by Amazon for managing this healthcare. Okay, healthcare services. And okay, all, I think these are the ones we have. Then again, different connectors for Mule 3 for SQS. Okay, Lambda connector we have also available. Suppose you want to execute some Node.js code, right? Then you can, it's just one of the examples that I'm telling you. You can use Lambda for execute that Node.js server code, and get I mean, get the output from that. Then SNS service, again Mule 3, EC2 connector, Mule 3. Okay, I think we have covered all these services. Then again, S3 Glacier connector as well. Okay, so I think this is good for this. Let's go back to the slides. Okay, I'll show you. I've showed you the demo. Okay, let me see if I have to cover anything else. Okay, any questions so far? Let me know. We've covered everything.
Okay, we have one question from Ankit. Which serves the better purpose for DML or DDL operation with respect to efficiency for any RDMS in build DB connector or AWS RDS?
Um, so see, you cannot do this I mean, DML and DDL queries with RDS. Okay, as you can see, we don't have any options of querying or selecting. So I mean, you have to use this select service, I mean, database DML services. Okay, we don't, you can see we cannot create any table or select that select query using data, I mean, using RDS connector options. See, so
Yeah, so basically it
we'll have
has
to.
got some limited functionality. So to do that or play around with that, you will be needed the DB connector itself.
No, yeah, I think see, we can say that RDS it's providing infrastructure options for database, but
Hmm.
not the uh,
Complete
functional
functionality.
options. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as that, as I already mentioned, like RDS. I mean, in AWS, we don't have anything to manage that database to launch those DML and TLS queries. So that's why, I mean, even in connector, we will not have that option if we don't have anything in AWS for that, right? Behind the scene, it will be calling the API, right? So that's why if it's not available, it will not be available here as well. Okay, so you, for that, you'll have to use this. Okay, any other questions? Let me know. Think
No.
covered everything.
Yeah, guys, anyone have any question? You can unmute and you can ask if you have. I don't see anything in the chat, Shubham.
Okay, let me stop sharing. You can ask any if you want. Feel free.